Hello, welcome back to another stream from Tachyon Lands. Today we're going to be having a look at a number of requests from some commentators, some people who watch my other videos, and also going to be exploring the fleet composition more to see if we can find a meta type fleet which works well for a well balanced fleet. So we'll be trying a number of different fleet compositions against each other and see who comes out on top. So for this fleet, we've got a request. This was a request from a number of people. So this request was from Dry99ER and from Singleton. There may have been some more people that requested. Seemed to be quite a few people that requested to see some variations of the torpedo cruiser. So what we've got is we've got the cruisers with the Devastator torpedoes and missiles, which we've been using over recent weeks, shield hardeners, and the torpedo computer. I am still very congested. I'm still pretty crook. I'm quite tired actually, but I wanted to do another video. We've got this fleet here, which is what's been requested, the torpedoes and the disruptors. So we're going to try these against our fleet with missiles. So the main change is disruptors versus missiles, and we'll see who comes out better. My only concern with the disruptors is they are small disruptors and the damage output is not high, so we'll have to see if their rapid firing and going through the shields and armor counters their lower damage fire rate in comparison to missiles. So it'll be interesting to see. We've got shield hardeners as well, so that should hopefully negate a little bit of damage from the torpedoes, and the other fleet has the same shield hardeners. Only difference is the disruptors. So let's go ahead and see who wins.
Hostile fleet assets engaged.
The disruptors going up there pretty good. So they've lost. It's pretty even. One side's lost a few more than the others. Oh, you just see when those Devastator torpedoes hit. So let's just see side. So this side is one of the disruptors. Looks like they've lost a few more ships, although their fleet power is still slightly higher. Let's see what the damage is. The Devastator torps, because both sides have got that. The disruptors, and then you've got the Marauder missiles. So the phase disruptors are doing more damage to the hull than the missiles. And damage to armor, but that's because disruptors go through that. And damage to shields. Small phase disruptors have done damage to shields. So I thought the disruptors went through. Oh, because the shield hardeners. That's right. Okay, so the shield hardeners are doing damage. That's the same as Marauder missiles. Because where our missiles, so missiles, because the missiles have got shield penetration, so the shield hardeners are working well to mitigate damage from the Marauder missiles and the phase disruptors. We can see that because otherwise normally they would go straight through. So the hardeners are working, they're blocking more from the shields at the moment, probably because the missiles have a higher damage output. Still pretty close. Both sides are just brawling it out. See, look at the hull. The hull's gone way down. That's a bit of disruptors. Okay. Well, that's a retreated fleet. Quickly get rid of that. Okay, so our fleet with the disruptors just won. It won by a few more ships if that fleet didn't retreat. So the disruptors were more effective than the missiles, which is good. I found that a bit surprising. I thought the missiles would probably be a bit more effective, but the disruptors just whittled them down over time. A little bit like strike craft, I guess. They just kept pounding away, getting straight to the hull. So that was a good, interesting fight. So not much in it, pretty close. But the destroyers, the cruisers with the Devastator torps and the disruptors held the day, so they are a bit more effective, at least against each other. So that's good to know. Now I want to try. I've had another request to try this against this build against frigates, to see how that goes against mass frigates, because these disruptor weapons should do pretty good against the frigates going through the shields. I'm not sure the cruisers would win because there's just so many frigates, and the multiplicative damage from the torpedoes benefits the frigates more than it benefits the cruisers when they're fighting each other. But we'll give it a go. Let's see. So for this fight, we've got our cruisers with the Devastator torps and disruptors. They're up against our frigates, which have got the Devastator torpedoes and missiles. They've got the afterburners to get in there quick. They've got the torpedo computers. So we'll see how this goes. You could try it with disruptors, but I wanted to try it with missiles first because that's what we've been using. Let's see how it goes against frigates and cruisers. You got the missiles, the disruptors. Lost a bunch of cruisers already. They've lost a bunch of corvettes. Oh, a bunch of frigates. Not sure we're killing enough frigates fast enough though. Yeah, they're just wrecking the cruisers. They're just not dying fast enough. I think that's a pretty clear win to the frigates. Yep. Which is what I thought. It's just a multiplicative damage from the torpedoes from so many frigates is just too much. You need a good number of screening ships to deal with those frigates. I would probably opt with a bunch of corvettes to go after those frigates. Put 3 disruptors on them and they will chew through those frigates pretty quickly. I'd say if you're dealing with someone using fleets of mass frigates, I'd go with corvettes. You probably wouldn't even send in cruisers against fleets of mass frigates. You would just spam out some mass corvette fleets and go and chew through those frigates first. Send them in first, then the other way around. For this next battle, we've got our combination fleet that we tried the other day. This has got a mix of arc emitter battleships, Cloud Lightning, standard artillery battleships with Tachyon Lance. It's got our carrier battleship somewhere. There we go, carrier battleship. A mix of missiles. And our cruisers with Devastator torpedoes. So we've got 18 cruisers, 12 battleships, and we've got 21 battleships on this side. And I've chosen to use the arc emitter with Cloud Lightning. This was a request to try this out. I'm not sure what battleships I want me to try it out against, but I've just picked these ones because they're pretty strong. To see if this combination fleet works better than the standalone battleships. I'm suspecting they will because they've got the cruisers, the mixed cruiser fleet. So let's see how it goes.
Hostile fleet assets engaged.
The cruisers come charging in. Release their torpedo volleys. Not as many battleships died as I thought they would. Let's check the damage output. The focused arc emitters to hull, as you'd expect. The Devastator torpedoes, Cloud Lightning, Devastator torpedoes to the armor. Yep. Focused arc emitters are hitting the shields as well. And that's because of the shield hardeners. Normally they go straight through, so they are doing damage to the shields. So that's where the focused arc emitters are losing some damage because of the shield hardeners. The Devastator torpedoes are starting to really affect them now. let's just pause again to see the damage, because the battle has now turned. Your devastator torpedoes are coming up in the damage. Yeah, 80,000 versus 21,000. You can see this fleet, the armor's getting down, shields are down, the hull is well down now. Well, what's the damage of this fleet still? This battle is over now. Yep. So they put up a good fight, but it's just those devastator torpedoes of the cruisers, and that's where the combination fleet can be really, really powerful. You've got the other battleships to engage them and try and draw off some of their firepower, so they're not focusing on the cruisers, and the cruisers have got enough health to stay in the battle for a long time. So that's really, really effective. For this battle, we've got the same Archimedes battleships were used as last battle. All pretty standard. We've used it before. We've got our mixed combat fleet of battleships that we used for the last battle with the carriers, artillery, and Archimedes battleships. But we've swapped out the cruisers for the energy torpedo cruisers. So I've updated their shields as well. We've changed it to dark matter reactors. If you just have the 0-point reactors, you only got enough power for 2 shields, because the energy from the neutron launchers sucks a lot of power. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your ship designs. If you don't have the dark matter reactor, you can probably only run 2 lots of shields, unless you compromise in other areas. So I've got 2 lots of shield hardeners, 1 lot of reactive armor. So we'll see how that goes. That reactive armor should help a little bit against the Cloud Lightning and Archimedes, so that's why I put it in. Just a bit of a test. It is mainly a test to see how the neutron launchers, if they're as good as the Devastators, which I don't suspect they will be, but who knows? These guys might stay at longer range and do a lot of damage. Let's find out. Strike craft going in. Long range, there go the neutron launchers. The damage they do. No, yet lost the battleship. They are losing a lot. The second wave of neutrons. Yeah, taking out more ships. It's pretty even. Third wave of neutrons. More battleships going down. Okay, let's check the damage. Very even, I think, at the moment. The focused arc emitters getting through the hull. Neutron launchers are getting through. Neutron launchers doing a lot of damage to armor, which we would expect. And damage to shields, and the neutron launchers are damaging shields as well. Okay, let's see how this plays out. Hard to call this one. Well, they have lost some of their battleships, 4 battleships. Still pretty even. Although this one's going down now. You see the damage to the hull, and that the defences are just down a lot more than this fleet. See the armour, look at the armour and shields in comparison now. Yeah, there you go. So the combined fleet has won the day again. So you can use neutron launchers successfully in the combined fleet as well. That was quite effective. It may have been even more effective, really, because they stayed at range and were able to get off multiple volleys. And with the mixed fleet, you've got other ships doing damage to shields, taking their shields down. You could see that the other fleet basically had no armor and no shields, and then they're also doing lots of damage to the hull. So that was probably a good combination. You can probably come up with a lot better combination to make it perfect, but that's just what I'm coming up on the fly, trying to think of builds. All right, I'll see if there's I'll look through some more requests and try and do some more fleet battles for comments. So for this battle, we've got our mixed fleet again, and this time we're going to take it up against, this one has the Devastator torpedoes. I've put them back in. On the cruisers, everything else is a shame with our 12 battleships, against a mixed fleet of carrier battleships with the arc emitters. So we've got I think it's 11 of them yet, and we've got 20 cruisers with the Devastator torpedoes and disruptors. So this was another fan request, commentator request, to try this out. I might try this against this mixed fleet, and then try it out against a smaller fleet as well, against frigates. We'll see how it goes. So let's try this one first. Strike craft going in. Cruisers engaging each other. Cruisers are just still running around each other, killing each other. Alright, let's have a look at the damage being dealt here. Devastator torpedoes, focused arc emitters. Oh, look at that. Damage to armor. Whoa. Devastator torpedoes. Well, both sides got the Devastator torpedoes, so it'd be high up on the list. Let's see if the strike craft can make a bit of a comeback or not. Relatively even in the shields, armor, hull. This fleet's got more fire base. This fleet's just lost more ships though now. Yeah, I think the battle is swinging. The longer the battle goes on, the strike craft become more effective. It's focusing down each ship after they've already been heavily damaged. Okay, so that was a clear victory to our combined fleet again. So the cruisers with the Devastator disruptors and the carrier battleships lost to the combined fleet. So those cruisers with the disruptors proved to be better than the missiles, and the carriers, well, they're very effective against most ships, but it's just this combined type fleet. You can see the losses. Okay, lost 10 cruisers, 3 battleships. So you can just see it just complements each other really well. We'll just look at the design so you guys can see the designs of that fleet. So it's just your standard cruiser, the missiles, devastator torpedoes. The battleships were this standard design. So you got your tachyon lands, you got your artillery. I didn't even have the dark matter reactors and that on this fleet. I could have done that. Then we had the carrier battleship as well. Standard sort of dying, more missiles. Got a bit of flak there as well. Then we had the Archimeda battleship, the Cloud Lightning, the missiles. So it's probably the combination of everything, because we've got things which are going through the shield, doing damage to the hull. Then we've got weapons which can do hull damage in the tachyon lancers. And then we've got more kinetic weapons which are taking down the shields. You've got strike craft going in, doing damage through the shields as well. And you've got missiles doing damage through the shields. And then you've got your cruisers which are going in and doing large amounts of damage as well with their multiplicative damage. So I think it's all those elements combined which gives you a total firepower which is just greater, and it's hard to counter. It's hard to counter when you're using a variety of ships like that, particularly larger ships. So obviously this fleet would be more a end game, mid to end game type fleet. You might have this combination in the sort of the mid game if you've got battleships, just with a different lot of weapons. You could use similar loadouts, but you might not have, you might have the focused Archimeda, you might have just the Archimeda. You might have Cloud Lightning. You can get that pretty early in the game, really. Some of the others you might just have to use, kinetic batteries and things like that. So far we've seen this this combination fleet is pretty strong. Seems to be killing nearly everything in its path. So let's test this again. Did I test it? I can't remember if I tested against the mass frigates or not. I think we did. We might change it up a little bit. So for this fight, we've got our massed frigates again with the devastator torpedoes. So they're going to charge in, try and get some big hits on our fleets with their missiles, extra speed, torpedo computers, versus our combined fleet. And I've changed it a little bit. What I've done is I've swapped the last module for taking out some missiles. I've put disruptors in there because the frigates are going to close into close range. If you're dealing with an enemy with mass frigates, likes massing frigates the whole game, you're going to need close-in weapons. So I've put in a couple of disruptors to add some firepower. I've also gone with all shield hardeners to try and negate some of that torpedo damage. So that's the carriers. Same on our kinetic. I took out a kinetic battery and added in 2 disruptors, and then you get the extra shield hardener as well, just to try and make our battleships last a bit longer. And same with the this fleet. I think it was Marauder missiles was there. For our cruisers, I'm going with energy torpedoes, so neutron launchers. So although I have kept it on torpedoes because I want the cruisers to go in closer to try and keep the frigates busy for a while. I don't think my cruisers will last too long, but they've got the disruptors there. Hopefully we can do some damage of them, do some damage of the energy torpedoes, and do some damage, negate some damage with the shield hardeners. And then hopefully that gives us more time for our battleships to inflict more damage. But against 170 frigates, it's going to be pretty hard, I think. It's not optimal way to fight frigates. You want to use small ships. Let's see how we go. There we go, strike craft. Neutrons going in. Oof. Cruisers got obliterated. So the first volley from the frigates just annihilated the cruisers. Yeah. No. Very one-sided. You can't fight a fleet of frigates with big ships like this. Didn't make any difference, really, from what I've seen in our previous battles.
Alert. Fleet unit offline.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll try another battle with versus the frigates, but just with something else. So our combined fleet is no good against mass frigates because it's just a multiplicative damage from 170 frigates firing torpedoes. It's just too much. Just crazy. So for this battle, I'm trying a mix of carrier battleships. So we've got some strike craft, and I'm trying corvettes against our mass frigates. So it's about 50-50 fleet power roughly each for the corvettes and carriers. So we'll see if this amount of corvettes can do a lot of damage to these frigates. And these are the same frigates we had last time with devastator torpedoes. So I'm hoping these corvettes can be effective. Let's find out. Still not killing enough frigates fast enough. And now they're into our battleships. Not killing a lot more. We are still losing corvettes though, probably to the missiles. Okay, they are losing quite a lot. Lots of retreating. So you see a small phase disruptor. So disruptors are really doing good there. Strike craft as well. They're inflicting quite a lot to the armor. Shields. Yeah, there's phase disruptors. Small phase disruptors are doing a lot of damage. So there we go. Pretty much lost most of their fleet now. That's just a retreated fleet. So we could see we didn't lose a single battleship then. So the corvettes, the frigates could not get in close enough to do their damage to the battleships. They're having 50-50 split with corvettes enabled the battleships to remain in the fight and keep doing their damage. And the frigates have been, well, they obliterated, 170 frigates obliterated. So these corvettes are definitely the way to go. If you're facing someone with frigates, disruptors are the way to go. Just let this fleet die. Yeah. Oh, we lost the battleship in the end, at the very end. So that fleet design is good. I'll just show the ship design for the corvettes. So that's the ship design, just plain disruptors. Everything else with a bit of auxiliary fire control for a bit of chance to hit. Swarm. And the carrier battleships and the strike craft doing their damage. That was very effective. So if you've got someone coming at you with massed frigates because they just want to overwhelm you with torpedoes, then you can use this option. If you've got, if you don't have lots of corvettes yet, you can quickly spam out a bunch of corvettes, put them in your fleet, and you saw how easily these guys killed those frigates then. So even if you don't have quite enough, that's what you need to do. Or spam out lots of corvettes. If you had a whole fleet of corvettes, you're going to easily waste all those frigates. And that's what you need to do. So I think that was pretty effective against the frigate. For this battle, I've gone to something a little bit different, a design I was thinking about the other day. This design is a destroyer. I put cloud lightning in there, put a large weapon slot, and I put point defenses in, because I've had some comments about point defenses, and we've seen Montu's video if the point defenses are working or not. So we'll see how that goes. I put the auxiliary fire control on and picket computer so they close into at least medium range. So put that on to see if we can get through the shields and armour and damage the hull directly. And what we've got opposite us, we've got our cruisers with devastator torpedoes, lots of missiles. So we'll see how the point defences go at knocking down the torpedoes and also the missiles. So we've got, what's that? That's 160, 170 point defences on these destroyers. So it's mainly to test the point defences, but I put the Cloud Lightning in it just to try a different design to see how it works, see if destroyers can be really effective. There goes all the Cloud Lightning. That's all the point defences firing. No destroyers down yet. Rising unemployment. Oh no. Yeah, this is a good light show. So far, not a single cruiser's been destroyed. Okay, there we go. One's down. 2. We've lost a bunch of destroyers. That's a good pause, isn't it? Let's just check what's going on here. The Devil torpedoes are doing some damage to hull. Guardian point defense 36. 219. The torpedoes are getting through and damage. Guardian point defense 2,698. Minority missiles. Okay. Well, so far it doesn't appear the torpedoes are really getting through, doing a lot of damage. We've only lost. We started with 85, so we haven't even lost 20 destroyers yet. They've only lost 3 cruisers. This battle could go all day. We are slowly losing more destroyers. The cruisers are whittling us down. But I guess there we can see the point defences of flak are working en masse. Let's have a look. Guardian 5,785, 1,162. Yeah, but the destroyers just can't do enough damage. They're doing alright though. They're starting to whittle the hull down a bit. Okay, let's go. Let's go far. Let's see how this goes. Let's go for years, this battle. I don't think it's ever going to end. This is really funny. Let's put it super fast. Okay, they finally lost. The cruisers finally wore them down. Oh no, the destroyers won in the end. Oh. Okay. I thought the destroyers won. So the cruisers, sorry, I thought the cruisers won. The destroyers won. Alright. So in the end, their Cloud Lightning wore the cruisers down and their point defences were effective at stopping the torpedoes and missiles to a certain degree anyway. They lost about half their number, a bit more than half. Alright, so that was just a test. I want to test it more in a normal sort of battle. That was different, but I just thought I'd throw that design out there, the destroyers of the Cloud Lightning. I just thought that'd be interesting to see. Okay, for this battle we've got our 21 carrier battleships, the Archimedes, a bit of missiles, the strike craft, and well, I've also got phase disruptors in there for close range, versus our destroyer fleet, which is nearly half in PD and flak, more flak because we're going up against strike craft, a bit of kinetic, a bit of plasma in there as well, and our other destroyers here, which are about 45 of them, got a mix of kinetic weapons and lasers and plasmas. So, because I have had some comments about that to see if these weapons are still, viable, and they very much are. It just depends on the circumstances. So we're going to see if 40 destroyers with flak and PD, which is nearly 50% of this fleet, is enough to stop the strike craft and missiles of the carrier battleships, and if those 45 destroyers can do enough damage to those guys before the strike craft kill them. So we'll see how effective this is. This is more a test of the point defences, really, the flak. You're losing a few now. I'm just losing too many destroyers too quickly. So we've lost half of our destroyers nearly. Let's look at the damage. The focused Archimedes, advanced strike craft, disruptors. So it's the focused Archimedes, advanced strike craft getting through to the hull, and advanced strike craft whittling away that armour. Yeah, we've only got 44. You can see the armour's down to half already. Just haven't lost a battleship. Yeah. Well, just disaster. And this is what we've seen in battles again and again, is when you have strike craft in large numbers versus the equivalent in fleet power of destroyers, which nearly 50% of that fleet was point defences, and that's what I was sort of I've seen in all my results. That I know Montu was saying that 10 to 20% of flak and PD is more than enough effective. Well, you just saw then that I had at least 40%, 45% of my fleet was flak orientated and point defense orientated, pretty much as I could put on those ships. Each had 2 point defenses and 2 flak and 1 point defense on 40 destroyers, versus 21 battleships with strike craft, and that's 2 strike craft each. So that's only 42 strike craft going in versus 40 destroyers. Each had 2 flaks. That's 80 flak. So there's 2 to 1 in flak versus those strike craft. Plus those point defenses as well to help deal with the missiles, and it wasn't even close. They just wiped them out easily. So I'm not sure how we can consider PD and flak working very effectively against these numbers, and it's pointless adding more in because then you don't have any firepower to actually fight these ships. You didn't even lose one ship. They lost a bit of armor. Look, that's about it. Health at 6% to the hull, 24% to the armor. So it's just we've seen this time again. You can mass corvettes; they get wasted. The frigates don't last long either against mass strike craft. So it's the frigates with the torpedoes, they would probably get in and do a lot of damage, but if you have a well-balanced fleet with strike craft and a mixed fleet, it's just a disaster. So you can see here the carriers and strike craft against destroyers, corvettes and frigates is very good. You probably go against frigates though, you want a screening fleet of corvettes to prevent them getting too close to carriers too early, and then it's game over for the frigates. So I think I'm going to end the video here today. I think the the conclusions are is that we've seen that well-balanced fleet, that 18 cruisers and then 12 battleships, seem to beat most fleets. It was very effective against most fleets that come up again. It sort of made all those meta designs we've been talking about stronger again versus singular fleets or other massed fleets. The only time it was beaten really was against the frigates, and that's because 170 frigates versus cruisers and battleships. It's not good. Anytime you come up against frigates, you need a screen. You need screening ships. And easy counter for frigates is either massed corvettes or destroyers, but I'd just go corvettes with disruptors. Even early game corvettes with disruptors, the first or second generation disruptors is going to just obliterate frigates, no problem. So we've seen again and again, there's strong builds and strong fleets, and there's counters to pretty much every build. The results to take away is the combined fleets are more effective than the mono fleets. The only time you have to adjust a little bit is someone coming out with mass frigates, really. Mass cruisers, even against the combined fleet, got wasted. So the combined fleet was just better. So, have some comments. Hit that like button. Give me some more suggestions for some more ship designs or fleet combinations if you want to see them. And I'll see you again next time.